Hello and welcome to this webinar all about the training frequency. So this is going to follow on from the FIT principle webinar where we discussed kind of the frequency, intensity, time and type. So I'm going to delve a bit deeper into your training frequency, things you need to be aware of, need to think about when you're putting your programs together. So let's get into it. So what is training frequency? So training frequency typically refers to how many times you train per week, but it can also refer to kind of how many times you train a particular muscle group or a specific type of training. So you may do upper body, lower body, or you might do push, pull, legs. These are different workout programs, but it will depend. Your training program will depend on how your muscles can handle what you're doing, but also how your whole body can handle it. Not just your muscles, but mentally and physically, how you can handle your training session. So a lot of people go to the gym when they first start in January, maybe 5 times a week, and they'll work themselves really hard for 5 days a week, and then they're knackered by Saturday, Sunday. Next Monday gets harder to go, and the frequency is just too high for them to maintain. So we need to think about your training frequency not only as a physical thing, like how often your body can cope with it, but how it will fit into your lifestyle to keep it enjoyable and a kind of long-lasting, sustainable part of your life. If you try and put anything into your day every day, it's going to take between 30 and 90 minutes at the gym. It's going to be hard to find that in every single day of your life. If you've got job, kids, social life, other hobbies, it's just very hard to squeeze everything in. So your training frequency not only refers to physiologically and biologically your how you recover and all these things, but also your lifestyle, so don't forget that. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it as well. So it links to your other FIT principles. Like I said in the other slide, your training frequency is going to also be dependent on your training intensity. If you're training at maximal intensity every single session, your frequency is most likely going to be reduced because your intensity is so high. You need to be able to recover in between those sessions to be able to hit it as hard again the next time. The time you have available. So if you don't have much time available, we're not going to be putting in sessions all the time, every day, because you just can't maintain that, like I said earlier. But if you we want to go to the gym maybe for 3 hours a week, if you're going to do half an hour sessions, you may have to do more sessions per week to make that up. If you can get to the gym for an hour at a time, you can do 3 sessions of an hour rather than 6 half an hours. So also time always comes into account as well. How long you can train, how often you can train. And then the last one is, what's the last one? I'm in the way. Type. I had mind blank then. So type of training. So how often are you doing cardio training? What is your training? What is your cardio frequency? What is your weight training frequency? What is your recovery frequency? Things like stretching, yoga, stuff like that. So this again comes into consideration. If you are maximally lifting heavy weights every session, the frequency you do that is probably going to be reduced per week because you need to recover in between each session. But if you're doing cardio weights and it was all at a reasonable intensity, you could do more sessions per week because you can recover in between different training types, stuff like that. Things like, say, a marathon runner or marathon runner at a novice level or expert level. If you're running 10, 12, 15 miles in training, you're not going to be able to do that daily. It's just too much for your body to take. So your frequency will be affected by how often you can do that distance in running. So these are things we have to take into consideration. Let me go back on this one. Okay, your training age. So this doesn't mean how old you are. This also means how long you've been training. So I've been training for over 10 years. I can train 6 times a week if I obviously adjust the intensity, but I can train that because my body's used to it. I've had years of training, recovering. My body is now used to doing it. You'll remember when you first started training how much your body hurt, how much it ached, and sometimes how much of a struggle it was to get back into the gym again. The more you train, the better your body adapts to be able to train more often, more frequently. So a new person may only need to go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week for 45 minutes, whereas the longer you train in years, the more you can train per week, the harder you can train and still recover and stuff like that. So your training age comes into it. So if you are a new trainee, a gym newbie, you don't have to train as much because you need to recover. You'll still get great results on those reduced training frequency, but the more you train, the more you kind of have to go to increase that stimulus again to keep working. Muscle group as well. So I'm a big fan of full body training, but they're like this, I say the standard is you go and do chest day, back day, leg day, and a lot of people do that because that's just kind of a bodybuilder style way of training, which is, everyone thinks that's fitness, but it's not. It depends on your goal, but it depends on, if you train. So if you train chest every single day, that's going to really impact like your training quality, because you're doing chest every day. That's going to fatigue, it's going to get tired, it's going to get injured. If you did chest day, back day, shoulders, the benefit of that is that you can go to the gym 6 times a week, not really hit any muscle group twice, and not kind of get too achy. So if you do your chest, you push your chest really hard on a Monday, and then on Tuesday you do your back, Wednesday you do your legs, Thursday shoulders, you can increase your frequency because the intensity on one specific muscle group is reduced. So you're hitting your chest really hard, but the rest of your body is kind of getting a rest day, and so on. So you can, your training frequency will come into how you plan your training session. Like I said, personally, I'm a big fan of full body training, which does impact how often you can do it, but I just feel like you get much better benefit per gym visit. And again, if we talk about time available, only go to the gym 3 times a week, but hitting everything once, you're hitting the gym, you're hitting each muscle group 3 times per week, rather than just doing chest day on Mondays. You're hitting the chest once per week, if that makes sense. Cool. Your training goal is also going to be important. If you just want to feel a bit fitter, a bit stronger, a bit healthier, a bit more confident in your clothes, you don't have to go to the gym every single day. If you're a bodybuilder that is training for a show, you have to train a lot more regularly, a lot more frequently to get to that standard of kind of achieving your goal. So you need to take into account your goal as well. If your goal is not to stand on stage in your pants next to other buff dudes, you don't need to be in the gym for 2 hours a day every day. You can just go 3 times a week, improve your strength, improve your fitness, improve your body confidence, and also your confidence in what your body can do. All these things will work from 2 to 3 times per week. You don't have to go every single day and kill yourself every single session. So always take into account your training goal. And then, like I said a couple of times, recovery. Your recovery is going to be a big part of how frequently you can train. If you train 2 days in a row and you feel effed up, it's going to impact you going the next day. And if you do go the next day, the quality of that session is likely going to be very reduced. So, linked to training age, your recovery will speed up the more you train over the years. But you have to allow that to happen naturally. You can't force your body to recover quicker. There's things you can do, stretching, sleeping, eating well, that's going to really help your recovery speed up. But like I said, if you kill your chest on Monday, you do loads of exercises at all different angles, and you really work that chest, the chance of you going back and doing chest the next day is going to be very low, because it's going to be achy, it's going to be tired, it's not going to be fully recovered, fully refueled to do that again. So your recovery is going to also limit how frequently you can go to the gym. Like I said, if you do full body workouts, generally your body might just feel tired. So you need a day or 2 rest in between to be able to go back and hit it at a good level of intensity again and again through the week, through the month. And remember, the goal is consistency and sustainability over the long term, not just killing yourself like for 1 week and then having to have 2 weeks off because you're just shattered. Cool, so that is training frequency. Hopefully that makes sense. It's hard for me to talk about training frequency without talking about intensity and time and type as well, because it all links together. So in the next one I'll talk about training intensity, but I'm sure I'll link it back to frequency as well. So these FIT principles all link into each other, they're all intertwined. So when we're thinking about building a program, we have to kind of think, right, if I increase my frequency, how will that impact my level of intensity? How will it impact the time I'm in the gym? All these things we need to take into consideration. If you've got any questions, please let me know.